You have now reached the last of the series of Simmons tutorials. By now you've learned how to read a crosstab, how to code your unique target audience descriptor, and how to run that against basic media quintiles. But in today's complex media landscape, it's not all about time spent with media. It's also about the different platforms consumers use and the purposes for using them. One of the great advantages of the Simmons Connect study is that we get a lot more information about consumers' interaction with digital media. You can get to this information the same way you got to your insights in the crosstab tutorial. All of the information is located here in these folders in the question box, just like all the other information you've been mining for. But Simmons has also created a series of quick reports. These help you access this information much more easily. This tutorial will introduce you to these reports, but view this as a starting point. Once you discover how to access these reports, I really encourage you to play around a bit more to see all that's available within them. So to get started, you simply want to be at the Simmons homepage. Go to the top of the page and find the Profile tab. You're actually currently in the Profile tab. To the right of Crosstab, you will see Quick Reports. Click on that. Once there, you need to select your study. So we go back to the Study tab, click on Simmons Connect, and click OK. If you miss this step, you won't have access to all of the reports related to technology, so you won't get very far. Now you see a series of boxes with 13 different report options. Many are self-explanatory. Obviously, the demographic profile will give you quick demos on your target audience. This can actually be very useful to take a look at after you've created your psychographically defined target. You can run that target audience through demographics to make sure that it still lines up with the demos your client provided you. Segmentation is also another great report. It'll put your target into predefined Simmons-based segments. These are in various categories: food, health and well-being, technology. Take a look at what might be relevant to your current project or your current client. In this tutorial, we're not going to have time to go through all these reports. We're just going to highlight 3 key ones, and then you can go back and explore the others on your own. The first one I want to take a look at is time spent composition. This report shows you how much time your target is spending with 11 different media types. This is essentially your quintiles chart for all media. To get started, you first have to define your target audience. Ignore base for now. Base is all adults as a default. You just want to leave it that way. So what you're going to do here is you're going to click on this edit button next to the target audience, and it's going to bring up your old familiar coding box. I'm going to click on the Definitions tab. I want to take a look at that nutritious mom that we looked at in the quintiles tutorial. I have saved her here, and I've called her Yo Mom. So I'm going to click down, find my Yo Mom. If I double click on her, she pops up in this right-hand box, and now I just need to drag that down here into the coding box. Once I've verified that the coding is correct, just click on Use as Target, click out of this, and now I'm ready to run. I'm going to click on the report that I want to run, make sure time spent composition is highlighted, and then just go up to the upper right-hand corner here and click on Run Analysis. What you have here now is a view for which quintile your target falls into for everything from e-readers to mobile phones to good old television. Now notice the default shows you what % of your target audience falls within that quintile. But quintiles are actually best expressed as indices. So at the top of the chart, click on this radial button for index, and it'll convert it all to indexes. The other great thing that Simmons offers you here is the opportunity to export this file so you can bring it into your PowerPoint presentation, your Word document, what have you. So if you go up to the Export tab, click the drop-down menu, you see you can export as a PNG, as a PDF, or as an Excel. I'm going to export it as a picture PNG file because I want to import it into my PowerPoint presentation. So click on PNG, I'm going to save it to my desktop, and now you'll see you really have a nice visual that you can simply just cut and paste into your PowerPoint presentation. Another quick thing that I want to note here is if you don't want all the numbers in your chart, click on the Show Values in Chart, and now you just have a nice visual representation overall. So in this report, I note that my target's actually spending a fair amount of time on her smartphone, over 8 hours in the last 7 days. So now I want to know what she's actually doing on that device. To run another quick report against the same target, you can simply go up to the upper left-hand corner here, click on the Edit button, and you're back to that home screen. Make sure that you do that through the edit button and not through the back browser on your computer, because otherwise you'll lose your target audience. You don't want to have to go back and redefine that. So now I want to take a look at her digital activity profile. So I simply click on digital activity profile and hit the run analysis again and let it do its work. On this report, we're getting a look at where she accesses the internet and what activities she engages with on her phone. There's also an interesting chart here in the upper right-hand corner that shows various mobile segments. We see that almost 1/3 falls into the social connectors segment. The definitions of each of these segments can easily be found by going to the Resources tab. So come back up here to the top, to the right of profile, click on Resources, and once there you want to click on your survey methodology. On the survey methodology page, you'll see here all of these various segmentation guides. You can click on mobile users and download that guide, and it will show you exactly exactly how all of these different things are defined. So I go back to my quick report. So now I know she's a social connector, so that makes me wonder, well, what exactly is she doing within her social networks? What role does that play in her life? So I'm going to come back here to the edit button. So now I want to run the social media activity profile. Same process, highlight the report you're looking for, run analysis, and I get a look at what devices she uses to connect to social media and what her favorite social networks are. I find it interesting that only 8% of this woman is on Pinterest. Pinterest is a very female targeted network, but no surprise that Facebook is her number one. I also get a quick look at what she thinks about social media. 44% agree with the statement that she would rather read other people's comments on social sharing networks than post her own. One thing that I should point out here is that you can actually scroll over any one of these comments and get some more detailed information about that statement. So 44% seems like a high number, but I don't have any context for that. Is 44% above average or is it below average? So if I scroll over that statement, I can see that it indexes at 158. So she is much more likely to feel this way than others. 58% more likely to prefer to read other people's comments rather than post her own. So if I'm hoping to use social media to encourage my consumers to post about my brand, maybe that's not the best tactic for this consumer. But she does love to talk about what she sees online, so I might not earn social media impressions from her, but I can likely count on her for friends and family recommendations. This information can actually influence how you think about messaging to her in this space. This is a perfect example of how media and creative winds up working together. This insight will get fed back to the creative team to inform them how to think about shaping the message. So as before, I note that you can view this information either by percent or by index by clicking on the radial buttons at the top. Note here when I click on index, this changes the view. This report is showing us what rises to the top. So now that we're looking at index, we see that while Pinterest only had an 8% coverage amongst this target, it actually indexes the highest at 188. So only 8% of yo moms are using Pinterest, but that means they're 88% more likely than the average person to. I can also see that she indexes very high against more likely to purchase a product seen on social media. By scrolling over this, I see that that is 12% of my total target audience. So social media posts may not be influential at getting her to talk about my brand, but it could be a great way to drive sales. There's so much more to discover in this section. As I said before, we don't have time to cover all of it in this tutorial, but now you have the tools to do some exploring on your own. Playing around in this area will give you insights that will enable you to find that sweet spot at the intersection between the consumer and the brand, and the consumer, brand, and media. So, congratulations, you are now well on your way to becoming a master of database mining, which gives you tremendous power in discovering consumer insights, the why behind the what. Enjoy.